So how is Dylan Harper looking like over at the Vegas Summer League, and who else is standing out?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. You're the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kens 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back. Hope you're having a great day. And as always, thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. Be sure to subscribe over at the YouTube page, iTunes, Spotify, the Kens 5 Plus app, YouTube. So many ways to subscribe. You guys are the everydayers. Keep coming here every single day too. Locked On Spurs. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get themselves $150 in bonus bets to win your first $5 bet to win. Make sure you do that right now. What are we talking about today? We're going to look at Dylan Harper's performance so far at Summer League. We're going to focus on his debut. I think you're already tuned in for that. So we're going to look at that and then play a game, all right? We cannot pick Harper, Jones Garcia, or Bryant. Who else is standing out on the Summer Spurs roster? That's going to be a little bit of a challenge. We're going to see about that and more with our guest who is at Las Vegas right now, checking into the Summer League. Who's going to bring him on? He is Matt Guzman with Spurs on Sports Illustrated. Be sure to follow my next at MattGZMAN. Do that right now. Matt, how much money have you won? That's more important. How much money have you won at the tables?
You know what? I've been once, and of the time I was there, about 2 hours, I was up for about 10 minutes. That's about it. So I've lost my money. It wasn't a lot of money. I made sure it was safe, but I had a good time nonetheless, and it's been cool to be here.
What did you play?
My thing is blackjack. I really enjoyed the blackjack tables and the roulette wheel. That's the evil one. It can.
That's the evil one. No,
it takes your money like that. So
that's the one that will get me every single time. If I see an empty seat and like a color's available, I'm like, I may have to take it. And then there it goes, man. But I'm glad you're having fun. You're being safe, taking in all the Summer League action, not just the Spurs, but the rest of the teams out there. So, yeah. Matt, let's go ahead and dive into it now. Let's take a look back at Dylan Harper's debut against Dallas. It was a highly anticipated matchup. It's Harper, number 2 pick, Flag, number 1 pick, Dallas, San Antonio. There it is. And I think it lived up to the hype, didn't it? That was a good meeting of the number 1 and the number 2 pick.
Absolutely. And you could tell the crowd is into it. They were definitely drawn by that number 1, number 2, the dynamic, I guess. Cooper Flag is as advertised. I think everything that he was able to do out there, despite the loss, he looked great. His ability to score on different levels, the presence, the size he brings, it's really big. And I think Dylan, you could tell, it was his first time playing in 4 months, actually on the dot. So, he kind of had to get his feet wet again, but he looked great. And I think that overall, yeah, they actually asked Dylan about it post game. Is just kind of what can be expected in y'all's future matchups. And he said, yeah, we're going to be playing this team a lot. So he said that they think that they showed the NBA world what they're made of.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan did not disappoint. 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, and that block was pretty incredible. I mean, he just chased that block down and ran up there. Were you sucking your breath in and holding it in when he took that nasty spill, though?
A little bit. I was worried for half a second, but I mean, he just at some point we turned our heads to the replay board and we were just in awe of the block itself.
Yeah, that was an incredible block there. Mike, even before he even took a shot, when the game was just still, at the jump off line there, I just was amazed at how big he is. I didn't realize he's a big guy, a big guard. He was towering over a lot of the Dallas players. Obviously, there's some exceptions like Flag, but nevertheless, I think he used his size well, getting into the paint. He says that he'd been talking to Manu. You saw a little bit of some Manu flash there, a little bit. I'm not going to try to jump the gun there, but you saw him really being crafty, using his body, getting to the lane, getting to the rim. What did you see out there?
Yeah, and it's funny. I mentioned Manu. I think midway through the game, it popped in my head just because the way that he decelerates to the basket. He really likes that Euro step and that hesitation pull. And he looked great while doing it. It's very clear that is going to be his bread and butter, and getting to the rim. And you mentioned his size. Yeah, him and Steph Castle are 2 big guards that the Spurs have acquired in the last 2 years, and both of them are very versed in getting to the rim and using their size to their advantage. And I think that's something that Dylan was showing early on.
Yeah, I like 6 rebounds. Hopefully he'll become a rebounding guard. I think he will be. And I get it. It's just one game. We'll see if he's going to continue playing. I highly doubt it during the summer league. I mean, they already shut down Flag. Harper's got to be coming up soon. But nevertheless, sure, the scoring was there. I liked it, but it was the rebounds, that hustle, that energy, the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet that really stood out for me. His ability just to play the lanes, all that was good too. And his ability to even get to the free throw line. He got to the free throw line in that debut 7 times. So I think if you extrapolate that in a full NBA game, I think he could also get some points that way and cause some damage to the opposition, getting guys in foul trouble. I think that's kind of a good gauge. I think he's going to be one of those guys that can draw fouls. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And something that we saw from the league's MVP this past season, if you can draw fouls and get to the basket, you can be a very, very high level scorer. And I think that that's something that Dylan Harper can use to his advantage. That's something that we've seen players use to their advantage, especially recently. And so I think that, he's going to be well versed. And I think his offensive game, and we can talk about his defense here in a second, but I think his offensive game, kind of like what Coach was mentioning afterward, that's there. They know who they got, they know what to expect. And, you can't ask for much more than 16 points in a limited number of minutes in the first game back from 4 months of break.
Yeah, exactly. And he definitely contributed on both ends of the court. And it was not just a little here, a little there. It was significant. You saw the offensive punch, you saw the defensive punch as well. Shooting wise, though, he went 5 for 12 from the field in the debut against Dallas, shot about 42%. Are we worried about the 0 from the 3 line? He went 0 for 4 from the 3-point line. What are your thoughts about that? Are we worried about that? I think kind of we expected that. We know he didn't come into the NBA a great, pure, long-range shooter.
Right.
But I'm not too worried about that. Your thoughts?
Absolutely not. No, I think, like you mentioned, that's not what the Spurs expect him to do. It'd be nice if you could hit him here and there. And even Castle can hit a few 3-pointers if he tries. But, that's not going to be his calling card. Plus, you factor in the fact that he's never played at NBA range from 3-point, and he scored other ways. It wasn't like he had a complete shutout anywhere. It was just a 3-point line. So I think he's just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. He is Matt Guzman with Spurs on Sports Illustrated at the Las Vegas Summer League right now, checking in on the Summer Spurs. When we get back, we're going to look at the opposite end of the court, the defensive side of Dylan Harper. What did he show in that debut versus Dallas right here on Locked On Spurs? Hey, but right now, when I talked about FanDuel, summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're about baseball under the lights, kicking the ball on that soccer field, or golf on the green, it doesn't matter. FanDuel is the best way to make every moment and game even more exciting. You already follow the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling with FanDuel? You can get on the game while your friends are just getting sunburned at the beach. They got new daily promotions. You can track your favorite matchups. The app keeps it fresh every single day, and it's just fun ways to bet. Easy to use, fast payouts. Regular season games feel like must-watch events. So whether you're using the same game parlay, the overall FanDuel just makes it feel like you're a part of the action. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bet if your first bet wins. Yeah, it's a great deal there. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Matt Guzman. He's with Spurs on Sports Illustrated. Make sure to follow him on X at MattGZMAN. Unfortunately, he may not be coming home with thousands and thousands of bucks. Now, house always wins, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think that's in my future, but I for everybody watching, I took Jeff's money, I put it on black, and it didn't.
Oh man,
it didn't hit. So
hey, is that a casino I hear nearby you?
No, that's actually also the backside of it. That's the credentials. We have to scan them anytime we enter it.
Gotcha. I was like, wait a minute, man. Are you sure you're at the games there? Maybe you're at the Luxor right now.
I could be.
Yeah.
You'll never know.
The Aria Hotel Casino there. All right. We are talking about the Summer Spurs. That's why Matt's here again. He's in Las Vegas right now, checking out on the action for your silver and black summer squad. Now, we looked at Dylan Harper offensively. We didn't get enough defensively. He has size, so I like that. I think it's still a work in progress. It's good, but I think he can get it better. What do you think?
Absolutely, and I think that's fine. Again, just because when you're looking at Dylan Harper as a prospect or what he brings to the table, the first thing you think of is the offense, the way he can get to the rim, how physical he can be. But I don't think you know nobody was expecting him to be a bad defender. But
Right.
the fact that he went up and got that block, the fact that he really held his own defensively, and I think that was a pleasant surprise for most people watching him for the first time. Obviously, the Spurs kind of expected a little bit of that too, and coach mentioned that afterward. He said, they know that Dylan is a very good two-way player, and I think my favorite quote from Coach Noyes was he said, as excited as everyone is about Dylan's offense, the Spurs specifically and Coach Noyes on the development team are really excited about what he brings defensively. And so I think we saw flashes of that with his size and his ability just to be athletic and go after a ball. He's not afraid to play defense. He's not going to be adverse to that assignment, and I think that's a very good sign for the rookie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, 2 steals as well in that debut, so that's pretty good. Again, and that crazy block as well. And I think this is something come with time. Carter Bryant, it's almost like flip with him. It's his offense is going to come, but his defense seems to be transitioning over pretty quick. For Harper, it's his offense is going to transition quick, and his defense may take a little bit of time. But I think the Spurs are going to be okay. Look, I think with Carter, obviously he's going to be looking to put an emphasis on that as the new season approaches. But he has a lot of defensive weapons around him. If for some reason maybe he needs a little more time to get caught up to speed, you have Bryant, you have Wemby, you have Fox, you have Castle, you have Sohan. I think defensively the Spurs are going to be looking really good, and if Harper can get on there as well, I mean, who's going to score on this team, Matt?
Absolutely, and that was something that I was wanting to focus on too. The fact that not only do you have Bryant, who is expected to be that top defender, and he's shown plenty of that. This I know we can't talk about him in second segment, but he's been great defensively. And I think when you think about the idea of Harper also having a defensive edge to him, all of a sudden this rookie class takes another step forward than what it already was considered to be. And so I think that that's a big thing for the Spurs, and something very, very good that they kind of stumbled into almost.
Yeah. In the first segment, you mentioned the SGA, but I believe in after the game and the press conference, somebody asked him about SGA, right? He was kind of like, whoa, he was kind of throwing it off like, hey, wait a minute, like, let's not go there yet. But he did say he watches SGA and how he plays.
Right. And it's funny because I took a picture of it. They actually, on the summer league, like on the outside of the arena that we're at here, they have posters, and it's like a current player and then a past player from summer league. And the billboard that they have on the big left, the biggest one, is Dylan Harper on the left side and SGA on the right side.
Interesting.
And so I think that the NBA might be trying to send a message or something there.
Yeah. You were at the game. What was the vibe like? What were the fans saying? How were fans reacting whenever Harper did something spectacular or did something bad?
Yeah, I think everyone was pretty reactive whenever it came to Cooper. I think he was the one who drew the most. It was an Oz. He had several dunks and stuff. But honestly, even more than some of Flag's dunks, the loudest moment the crowd had was Dylan's block. Because I don't think anybody expected him to get up that high and then keep going. So that was the moment that the crowd was really, really bought into. And I think you could tell that sometimes it tails off and they don't really get into it. But, the crowd was definitely into this one, and they stuck through all the way and, gave standing ovations to both Flag and Harper when they were subbed out for the final time. So it was a very good atmosphere. And I think, something Dylan said here, the crowd was great. And I think that he was excited just to be out there playing basketball again. So.
Yeah, absolutely. The Summer Spurs are looking really good right now. Obviously, we're spotlighting Harper right now. But since we can't bring up other names in the final segment, Carter Bryant, he's just, his defense is just incredible. I'm trying not to make it too much because it is summer league, but my goodness, he's making me kind of like this right now. Like, oh, okay, what's he going to do in the real game? So I'm hoping it'll translate. I'll see, Jones Garcia. Are you sure he's just not a machine out there, Matt? Are you sure about that? Because
we asked the question. We talked to the team and asked them if that was, really David Jones. They said, yeah. And in fact, there are plenty of Mexico City Capitanes people out there that have been cheering really hard for him.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess. I mean, imagine if another team scoops him up. He's that could happen.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, regardless if the Spurs get him or not, he definitely deserves some minutes. This upcoming season, he's proven himself.
Absolutely. Yeah, all right. He is Matt Guzman with Spurs on Sports Illustrated. Be sure to follow my next at MattGZMAN. Up next, we're going to look at the rest of the squad, and we cannot bring up Carter Bryant, Harper, or Jones Garcia. We got to look at the rest of the squad and what's standing out for us as the Summer Spurs continue play right here on Locked On Spurs. Once again with Matt Guzman. Hey, I want to talk about Hungryroot. Let's be honest, meal planning, grocery shopping can be overwhelming. Between busy schedules, picky eaters, trying to eat healthy, it's a lot. That's why you're going to love Hungryroot. They take the stress out of planning and filling your cart for you with personalized groceries, meal options based on what you like and need. Hungryroot uses a smart cart technology to recommend groceries, recipes, even supplements tailored to your preference. Whether you're dairy-free, gluten-free, focus on gut health, or just trying to eat better, Hungryroot has you covered. Look, there's so many things about the Hungryroot app or website you're going to love. Let's just say you have a busy schedule. You'll get the grocery shopping done for you. Maybe you got fitness or nutritional goals. Guess what? They'll help you in maintaining and sticking to those nutritional goals without giving up flavor or convenience. Yeah, Hungryroot does it all. Go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Take advantage of their exclusive offer. For a limited time, you get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. You heard that right. Once again, hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Code is LockedOnNBA to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Matt Guzman. He is with Spurs on Sports Illustrated. He is at the Las Vegas Summer League right now, taking in all the Summer League action right now. And I'm assuming you're going to other games outside of the Spurs, right? You're sticking around for other action?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually got to go check out some Charles Bassey minutes with Boston. They're playing the Knicks today.
Nice.
Stuck around for some of that Lakers game yesterday against the Pelicans and saw LeBron from afar. But yeah, so it's been cool. I do love the atmosphere, how every team is here and just kind of cycling through and through.
Did you see the other guys from the Spurs show up? It was like Wemby and
Yes,
and
they walked right by us, and Harrison walked by us to go do his ESPN media, and so yeah, the crowd both times that Victor showed up, a lot of them stood up and started cheering, yelling Wemby. So it's been cool to see everybody here.
I saw that photo of LeBron just getting swarmed by photographers. That was crazy. Yep. My goodness, man.
And then he declined
You were going to say?
No. I was going to say when he declined his ESPN interview too, so I think everybody wanted to get a picture of him.
Yeah, well, see, maybe he should have just done it to get it out of the way. But honestly, nevertheless, Matt again is here from Las Vegas talking about the Summer Spurs. He's there watching this team. But, Matt, there's other guys on the roster that are not Carter Bryant, not Jones Garcia, and not Dylan Harper. Who else is standing out for you on the Summer squad?
Easy. Riley Minix. I've loved writing about, Riley since last season when he signed a two-way deal with the Spurs. I've got a chance to talk to him and his mom, and then I really got to know him quite a bit since he's been with the Spurs in that two-way capacity. But he's back. He tore his labrum early in January, had to sit the rest of the season, but he said he's feeling great, no hitches on his shot. And I've just really enjoyed, his story because he's older. I think he's either 25 or he's about to turn 25, and he's still trying to carve out a role for himself. But I think the one thing he's shown is that he can shoot the basketball, and he's done that really, really well through Summer League so far. He's 46% through the last game of the California Classic and these first two here in Summer League. He didn't play those first two in San Francisco, so I mean he's doing exactly what the Spurs had hoped that he would do.
Yeah, and if he's going to get a spot, he's got to knock down that shot. The Spurs still don't have that three-point sniper. He could be it. Do you think he's aware of that the Spurs desperately need some floor spreaders?
Yeah, yes, and we talked to him a couple weeks ago and asked him about, just knowing that he's on a roster that has kind of been searching for that role, and he said that's what he's trying to do. He said it's a very easy role that he can fill. It's a good role that he can fill, something that he knows he's capable of. And so I think that, that's kind of sitting in the back of his mind as he plays. And honestly, every time he shoots the ball, he's thinking about that. And more often than not, it's been successful.
Yeah, Riley Minix, I've been a fan of him too, as well. You know, in the G League, Austin Spurs, he definitely lights it up. I would say he's another Matt Bonner. I think he'd do a little bit more than Matt. He has a little bit more athleticism than Matt. But my goodness, if they need a 3-point sniper, and they do, Minix could be that guy. And I hope it does pan out for him. I think he's paid his dues in the G League, Summer League.
Right.
You know, like you're going to pay dues in training camp, preseason. So hopefully they'll give him a roster. And the Spurs still have roster spots available. I think they have a couple of two-way deals. They got maybe two more roster spots left, and then the two-way deal, something like that. Yeah,
2 roster spots, and then they have the qualifying offers, but they still have technically 3 two-way spots.
That's true. Yeah. So there's definitely room on the roster for the Spurs to look at Minix. I just hope he keeps it up because we know that Harper's going to get shut down at some point. It's going to happen. So that's going to be just more minutes for Minix to shine, and I hope he takes advantage of it. So Matt, I want to do a little twist here, though. I'm going to bring up a name not because they're standing out, but not in a good way, and that is Harrison Ingram. Hasn't really been showing, I don't want to go that far and say like what it takes to be in the NBA. He got drafted by an NBA team. So obviously an NBA team thinks he does have what it takes. But so far through these summer league games, I've been unimpressed. Bad shooting nights. It really hasn't taken, kind of a step in the right direction. Because you would think that a second-year player like him, with the experience he had with Austin, plus a little bit with San Antonio, would shine a little brighter in summer league against guys that are, just hoping to make the squad and showing more out there than maybe he is. Again, I'm not trying to bash him, but he hasn't really stepped up. I fear that either he's going to get buried in Austin again, or his time in San Antonio organization and franchise may be coming to an end sooner than later. I hope that's not the case, but I've been really unimpressed by Ingram, and that's what's standing out for me. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and you're right. I think the biggest thing when you think about him is the fact that he has a year. And normally, when you see those players come back for their second or third year of summer league, even David Jones Garcia, who wasn't with the Spurs,
Exactly.
he was spending time in the G League with the Capitanes. He's showing like obviously, he's a star.
Yeah.
Charles Bassey is, I think, entering year 5 in the league. He's here at summer league, and he, walked into a double-double with Boston. And so, when
even City Sissoko shining bright right now for Portland.
Absolutely. And these are players that just, it's very clear they have experience. They're going to kill it at summer league. And Harrison Ingram, I don't think is scoring more than 5 points in any of the time that he's played in California or here in Las Vegas. And so I think, like you said, Spurs drafted him, and I think they're, they extended that qualifying offer. They like what he has, to offer potentially as a 3-point shooter. And he's a bigger, he brings size with him as well. But
He does.
so far he has not quite shot the ball at the clip or the frequency that I think the Spurs were kind of hoping that he could or would.
Yeah. Now I'm hopeful that, I think the Spurs still have about 2 games left plus 1. I know that's how they give you 4 scheduled, then you get a bonus 1 at the end. So technically he'll have 3 more shots at the apple to shine bright. And I hope he does take advantage of that. But it just feels that he hasn't taken that next step yet. I don't know if it's just, he's just thrown into a mix right now, players he's not familiar with, but it doesn't matter. In my opinion, it doesn't matter. You mentioned Bassey. I mentioned Sissoko. There's other guys out there in the summer league right now that are just tearing it up right now. They're second-year guys that spent time in the G League. City's one of them, for example, but he's showing out for Portland. Bassey, didn't get a lot of time with San Antonio because of injury, but nevertheless taking advantage of those minutes with Boston and just leveling the floor. So I need to see that out of Ingram ASAP. I got to see it because, man, who knows? I mean, the way that Jones Garcia is playing, the way Minix is playing, man, that's a roster spot on the San Antonio bench that could belong to Harrison if he doesn't get his act together. Your thoughts?
Right, absolutely. And it's always tough when you have conversations like this, and when you look at players that have not turned into, we just watched Malachi and Blake depart from San Antonio, and neither of them turned into quite the guard that maybe the Spurs wanted them to be. But like you said, Harrison he has more runway got a couple more games, and the Spurs are 2-0. There's a chance that they end up advancing to the playoffs. Summer league playoffs, and even more minutes for Harrison Ingram. But yeah, I don't think that he's fully taken advantage of the minutes that he could be.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's our thoughts about the summer Spurs out in Vegas. Again, Matt's there, so you got to make sure to follow him on X because he's putting up a lot of photos, a lot of behind-the-scenes looks, what's going on at the Vegas Summer League, at the Thompson Mac, over there, those gyms. So he is at Matt GZMAN. He's also putting out a lot of content, a lot of articles for Spurs on Sports Illustrated. What do you have on deck?
Yeah, the next thing that I'm working on is Carter Bryant. Obviously his defensive, the things that he brings on the defensive end is very, very clear, but he's really, really, really struggled shooting from three, which is, the other half of the game that the Spurs were kind of hoping that he could fill. So I talked to him about, remaining confident in his process and all that. So I have a pretty good one coming up on that.
You see, and that's why you got to follow Matt on X at MattGZMAN. Do that right now. Matt, thank you for taking time out of your schedule out in Las Vegas. Try to get those winnings back. Maybe play the slots. I don't know. Maybe you got lucky. You pull one and you hit it. You hit the jackpot.
That's true. Ample opportunity. I'm going to go try my best.
If they just fake it and just get the free drinks, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm pressing the button. See, I'm pressing the buttons. Oh, yes, I'm taking a free drink right now. I took a free beverage. But again, Matt, be careful out there. Have fun. I know you're there for like another day or so. So again, soak it all in. It's a great experience. I did it so many times. I know you're enjoying it right now. He is Matt Guzman with Spurs on Sports Illustrated. Again, on X at MattGZMAN. Everybody else, thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, KINS5 Plus app, YouTube. You know where to go. Go subscribe ASAP. We'll be back tomorrow talking all things San Antonio Spurs as the offseason continues. So for Matt Guzman, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.